My favourite Ditko books? Well, it's possible, of course. There's a few more Ditko books in my collection, but this is a selection I found, so I'm going to run through them. This one, of course, is the most epic, most massive one I've got, and this is from Taschen. Absolutely superb. 1962 to 1964, and includes a nice selection of brilliant Ditko work in the original beautiful colours. And I'm just going to show you some of this. This weighs a ton. This really is an absolutely superb book. Came out fairly recently. Should be able to still pick up copies, I assume. But it's just superb. It really is. Massively oversized. It really weighs a ton. It also has got lots and lots of information about Ditko and, of course, Spider-Man. And it also includes, of course, the classic original inked pages at the back, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, the inked pages were available, or are available, I should say, in the Epic Collection Volume 1. Now, Volume 2 Epic Collection also includes some absolutely superb Ditko pencils. Really worth checking out. Unfortunately, I haven't got those to show. However, what I have got is, of course, this. The superb Amazing Fantasy number 15. No, if only I had that. But it's Amazing Spider-Man Omnibus. And this is superb. Stanley, Volume, and Ditko, of course. Volume 1. It's got all the original covers there. Absolutely superb. And, of course, it has all the checklists, the original letters pages, etc. As well as, of course, some superb little pin-ups as well. And, of course, some introductions, etc. And there's one of the pin-up. I love the checklists. Important special announcements section. Those sort of things. Of course, you've got Green Goblin there. Now, the extras, the bonus material in this, is not as good, I think, personally, as the epics. The epics are better when it comes to the sort of special stuff, bonus material. I wish they would put everything into this omnibus. To me, the omnibus is the pinnacle book. Now, I suppose some people might say, well, the Marvel Masterworks ones are. Perhaps. But for me, the omnibus ones are. So I would love to see a lot more bonus material. I say it doesn't even include the original inked pages. It would be brilliant if it did. But it does include a little bit at the back. Not much. However, it is all, of course, the Ditko work, which is, of course, superb. Some of the best Silver Age Marvel ever. Let's just get to now something slightly different. DC, Hawk and Dove. Now this unfortunately is not available as a hardback. Be nice if it was. However, it is still a really great little collection of Hawk and the Dove. And of course he did other work as well for DC. You can see the list there. And of course there's other people, Gil Kane as well. But still, it is just a really beautiful, love all the stories. And well, it's a nice little collection. And of course, paperback, really worth checking out. Now, one thing in the UK, we got all these Creepy Worlds. Love these ones, and there's another one as well, Creepy Worlds. I've got a fair selection of these sort of Alan Class books. They came out in the 60s and 70s. Unfortunately, they stopped. I don't know when they stopped, actually, to be honest, but I loved getting these ones. Now, they're not all Ditko all the way through, but you've got a fair amount of Ditko work. You've got Captain Atom there and Dr. Spectro. Of course, they were in black and white. They were just great, though. I loved them, and they always had the fantasy stories as well. So again, you can see there it's not all Ditko, but there's a fair amount of Ditko. Virtually guarantee whenever you pick up one of these Alan Class ones, there's always going to be some Ditko somewhere in one of them. And again, this is another one, of course. This is absolutely brilliant as well. Death Knell of the World. Just great. Oh, again, another non-Ditko story. But there are definitely quite a lot of Ditko ones you can find in those. Now, this collection is superb. And it's a volume set, and this one's volume 4. I'm not certain how many volumes they came out with, 4 or 5, but it's Impossible Tales, this one. And this is a really lovely collection, nicely cleaned up, really good, high quality stuff. All mainly, I think, well, it's obviously all 50s material, more, probably 50s, 60s, probably even say, yes, there is. There's all the contents there. So you can see a quite amount, March 59, December 57, etc. And these are all Charlton books, Tales of a Mysterious Traveller, Unusual Tales, etc. And you've got a nice little introduction as well, obviously a little bit of there of Ditko's Doctor Strange. And you can always see, of course, some of the characters that look very familiar later on, but still absolutely superb. Great selection of stories. And this is the only volume I've got. They are quite expensive, these ones. They've gone up in price quite a lot, so you might still be able to find them. It's from Fantagraphics. Now, I might be completely wrong on that, and they're probably all in print, but I don't think they are. Now, this one I can't show anything of, but has quite a lot of Ditko, the history of Bizarre Underground. Absolutely unusual book, and like I say, I literally cannot show anything of this on here, but there is some Ditko in this, where, of course, the origins of Spider-Man, as they say in this book. So, Eric Stanton, worth checking out that. Check that one out. And now, the Hero comics. Ditko did, well, vast amounts, and unfortunately I couldn't find any of the real later stuff. I got the last comic he did. Now I cannot find it, saved my life, so it's around somewhere. And I've got 2 or 3 other ones of these ones, and this one, Robin Snyder and Steve Ditko, the Hero comics. And they're odd. Now these ones are not so, obviously, standard Blue Beetle there, but some of the late, this sort of thing. You got the artwork there. Very unusual. Not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, they're fine for me, and it's got lots of brilliant articles in here as well, which is, and also obviously illustrations there as well, more illustrations. So you've got a lot of material. You should be able to find these reasonably easy, I would say. I got this a few years ago, but there's another one. This one, the most original name in comics. And you've got here Mr. A. And again, you've got, it's very hard to work out actually all the various issues of this because it's just sort of spread over. Kickstarter, I think, is probably a good place to check out. I think this was on Kickstarter. You can see the range of selection there. Oh, 1988. You can see he's been, they are static 160 pages, chapters 1 to 14. Very, very confusing, but still at the same time, really worth checking out if you're into Ditko. But I say some of the artwork is very unusual at times, and you can see it there. He really went for some very surreal, like the text effects there and there. I mean, that is just unusual. And you can see there with the illustration, not deny the truth, anything goes, etc., etc. So you really, and then you've got very, very loose sketches there. A is A. But you've got sort of more traditional sort of style comic book. But they're worth checking out, the Hero comics. I don't know where I think I picked this one up in Gosh in London. They often have quite a pile of those. I think people walk past them just completely, because they always seem to be the same size of pile. Maybe I've seen people up on them, but it always amuses me, that sort of thing. However, Machine Man, Kirby and Ditko. Now, I bought a few of the early Machine Man. I didn't continue the series, but they were generally pretty good. I was quite impressed by when I got this collection. This is the complete collection, Kirby and Ditko. And obviously the early ones are all Kirby. You can see that Kirby style there. But later on, there's a few other artists as well. But then you've got Ditko. And it's quite a nice little... I really like the Ditko ones. The Ditko ones are very odd. I'm not saying that the stories, they're certainly not the same as the Kirby one. It changes very much the style, but it's still very interesting, beautifully. That's the same with, like, I haven't got it here, but I've got the Hulk omnibus. The Hulk you wouldn't normally associate with Ditko, but a lot of the early Ditko Hulks were Ditko. You got Metal Master and the leader and things were Ditko, and they really were very good. I love those ones, and maybe I should have put that in this as well, but I didn't. However, I have over the years had many of the Ditko original, and I got this one fairly recently, pop art, and I love the pop art ones. I don't know why, it's something about pop art, not certain why, but my friend back in the 60s had lots of these ones, pop art, and I didn't know what they were. I thought, pop art, what's that? And so when it sort of, you see one of these, I think, oh, you know what, a pop art one. Anyway, there's probably a small section. I bet there's some people have got, that is their collection. Pop art, all the pop art ones. But they're great. Obviously, they're no different from the standard ones, but it's just, but still, brilliant bit of Ditko, of course. And I love this story. It's one of the more unusual ones. The Claws of the Cat. It doesn't have a real major villain. It's, I mean, the cat is not a major, just basically a thug with a gun who's got a sort of few sort of light beams and things that he obviously uses against Spidey. But it's still quite good. I just think it's, well, and of course it's got the spider's web there, and you've got the good old checklist. I love checklists. Bring out an omnibus collection of checklists. I will be buying that very quickly. And you've also got those as well. It's just great. And also, of course, all the original ads, and you've got there Betty Brant there, and just classic. But however, it's probably one of the oddest covers you can, one, I'm surprised they actually went with this cover, because in some ways Spidey is so small there, you really hardly know that Spidey, I mean, to me, it's obviously a comic of that water cooler collapsing. However, you've got the cat as well, very oddly. So it's not really a standard cover that you would normally think with. Still brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now this is a brilliant one. I love this. Past Perfect special. Now, Past Perfect have created loads of these wonderful reviews of work, and this one's a collection of all of them, putting all the Spider-Mans all together. I assume, and I don't know, I'm saying that. I think earlier ones had obviously one or two articles about it, but this one includes the lot, and it's just superb. You've got all this Spider-Man one. I would recommend checking these out. Past Perfect, really brilliant, and especially the Steve Ditko one. It's absolutely superb. And I think there's probably a Doctor Strange one. I don't know. But certainly the Spider-Man one is just absolutely... And I love the bit where he does that. He puts a review, so he says good bits, the bad bits, etc. So he gives sort of like some interesting insights. You think, oh, you know what? I never really thought about that. You know, you read these stories, they're brilliant, but you think, true. That didn't make sense really when you think about it. And it's like it says Goblin Watch, Norman Osborn, etc. Sorry for that spoiler there. But Spider-Man #1, of course, a classic. And it's got a brilliant little selection about text about that. I just love this. Just really, really classic collection. And also, it's of course got advertising for the Spectre and Vampy. Now, let's go to this one. Now, this one's an unusual one. Speedball, the Masked Marvel. Really nice complete collection. Very, very thin. I mean, it's very thin, and it collects a reasonable selection of course, Speedball from Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel Comics Presents, Marvel Superheroes, etc. It's all in colour, of course. The stories actually has a feel of Spider-Man all the way through it. Some of the characters, but probably in many ways, well, you can see like their standard sort of Ditko, but I think it's just superb. Just love this one. But, well, you got sort of feeling of later as well as earlier sort of things. Occasionally you sort of see that sort of Spider-Man feel to it, and yet at the same time there's sort of that later sort of 70s look that I don't know, most odd. But I think it's great little story. Love this collection. So a new hero from the co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, as it says there. I saw recently there was one on, I was watching a film, and of course the Doctor Strange, and of course you see the credits. Weirdly, about halfway through the credits, it wasn't like at the end or anything. I thought, that's strange. Why did they put the credit for Doctor Strange, Steve Ditko, etc. in the middle of the end credits? Very strange. Anyway. Oh, Doctor Strange one. This is, of course, a superb collection. I love the Doctor Strange. That's why I was talking about Doctor Strange. Brilliant. But it's very thin. It's a very thin... Now, of course, there's the Epics, Marvel Masterworks. There's probably... And there's, of course, the monster version of a lot of these stories. But this one, as far as I'm concerned, is the nicest collection of the Ditko ones, with all the stories there. Absolutely superb. And, of course, many of the covers, they had S.H.I.E.L.D. or had, you can see there, Human Torch on the cover. But still, actually, I love the earliest ones. The early stories, you really get a feel. It's very, very old, unusual. I mean, Doctor Strange really never looked like that afterwards. Doctor Strange, Master of Black Magic. Did they ever say that afterwards? Master of Black Magic. Master of the Mystic Arts, but never the Black Magic. Stranger. The early stories is one of the best ones. I really love that one. Of course, you've got Nightmare there. And Wade does a very... Just was brilliant, ancient one. All the characters look very different from what they looked like later on. And explore the mystic worlds of the black magic. Again, unusual how that sort of like got dropped a bit. But of course, the origin story came in issue 115 of Strange Tales. Just classic story. And of course, you've got, again, all the covers, all generally of the Human Torch. In fact, poor old Doctor Strange was also starring Doctor Strange in The Possessed. Weird how Doctor Strange now has a major film and poor old Human Torch doesn't. So obviously he did make it in the end. But of course, you got there the Sanctum there. And of course, brilliant Baron Mordo there. Baron Mordo, of course, and Dormammu and all the various characters. And of course, you've got the letters pages. I love the letters pages. And it's Strange Mails. I don't know if that changed. Tiboro. He had some unusual characters. Of course, some of the characters they could bring into the films. Maybe Tiboro could make his slight... That would be nice, wouldn't it? Tiboro suddenly turns up. However, now this would be an epic story. It was an epic story at the time. It went on for about 20, 25 issues. Didn't feel like it at the time. I must admit, when I was reading it, I didn't think, you know what, this story's going on for a long period of time. But face to face at last with Baron Mordo. But it did continue. Even afterwards, poor old Doctor Strange could not have got any sleep. Literally, he was going off here, going off there, flying off here, getting captured, then going and meeting Eternity or whatever, and so on and so on. And, you just got, of course, you've got the classic characters, Clea, Dormammu there, etc. So, and Strange Males again. I love that. And, of course, fantasy masterpieces there. But just superb. I love this Ditko work. And it has a selection, of course, of bonus material back in a way that's the best way of showing the book. Now they seem to, probably now, of course, if they brought this out again, they'd probably bring them out in 4 a page, which is a pity because I think these things all deserve a full page because quite a lot of the covers, the ones that they've reprinted, are actually like Gil Kane or some other people, and I think they're quite excellent, but they don't really deserve getting just a quarter of a page. It would be nice to see the full-on picture, maybe even without all the blurb over it. Would have been nice, but maybe they don't have those. But still, and you also got other covers as well and things. However, let's just get that one there. But this is my favourite. Love Doctor Strange Omnibus Volume 1. Got Volume 2 recently. That's superb as well. Now, this one is really good. I mean, it's not all Ditko, but there's a fair amount Ditko. This is basically a Ditko Omnibus. And you got Dr. Drew straight away. Of course, I'm showing something that's not Ditko, but you've got lots of Ditko stories. So it's just full of classic Ditko all the way through it, as well as others, of course. And you can see, of course, the standard looks again that you know from Ditko. But this is a really lovely collection, and it's been reprinted. And so you should be able to pick up a copy of this very easily. But it has lots of... And also, not only that, it has the Amazing Fantasy 15, but it has all of the stories instead of just the usual one, obviously, of Spidey. It is nice that they actually included the lot. And it's also got some lovely bonus material at the back, which is really good. Of course, you've got the brilliant illustrated pages there, inked pages there. And again, this is what I mean about this. It'd be brilliant if they put a page, a full page. Just putting 4 a page, not so good, personally. However, it's a great collection. Still love that. Now, let's go this one. This one is from IDW and Yo Books. They're always good. Absolutely superb. This one is like a lovely collection of articles, pictures, everything. Obviously in stories there. You've got, whatever it is, that's Dark Rooms there. From all our Dark Rooms, you've got stories there. One-way trip. Actually saying that, this one is all mainly, well, it's got a little bit of articles and things in it, but out of this world, I should say. An Ancient Wrong. Good stories. Of course, you've got some lovely pictures, obviously, of Ditko there. And you've got some more brilliant artwork there. Now, this is... Oh, what's this one here? Again, another one. This is just a lovely collection. The Creativity of Ditko. I don't know if they're still readily available. I think they're a bit tricky to find, actually, to be honest now. But I look at that. That's just absolutely brilliant artwork there. Let's see if it gives a bit more details. Oh, gives the contents there. That's always the best way of showing it, isn't it, right from the start? So you can see the contents, as well as, of course, it's got there the creeper there, an introduction. That's a really nice collection, and sort of related to that, and that's why I picked that one up. And this one is called Creativity of Ditko. Slightly confuses it because it's very similar to this one, which is in white. Obviously, that one's in black. This one also actually includes mainly the comic strips. I don't know why I got the impression, probably because of the Ditko Unleashed, that it was more articles. But there's obviously some articles in here. You can see here contents, and this one is, like I say, the Art of Ditko. Now, got here Strange, obviously Charlton. A lot of the early Charlton work as well. Got some more ones there. More pages. Now, is this better than the other one? Oh, well, they're about much the same. Great stories all the way through. And, of course, you've got some inked pages there, which is always worth. Enchanted Planet. Now, I don't know if some of these might be from other ones. This is one from Space Adventures. I was looking trying to look to see where it actually lists where it's from, because it's Ghostly Tales. These are all charted ones. You can see there you've got Unexplored Worlds. Now, I don't know, this one is, oh, no, that's 10. That's the cover, but not the cover of this, just to confuse. It doesn't include the cover of that one. So you've got that one, Mysteries of the Unexplored Worlds. So sometimes you've got the covers because they were Ditko covers, but the stories inside probably might not have been Ditko, because you've got here, or it might have been, but just not included in this book. This one is number 6. Very confusing way of doing it. It would have been nice if they just included all the covers, but maybe it's in some order or something, I'm not certain. However, this one doesn't include as much information about Ditko. Still, a very, very nice book all the same. And again, by Craig Yo, an introduction by Stan Lee as well. Now this one is the one I was thinking about when I was picking those ones up. I thought there was more to them than just obviously the comic strips. So, but they seem to be basically comic strips. This one, Ditko Unleashed. This is quite a hefty tome. An American Hero. I don't know if this is still in print or not. No idea. But this is like one of these, I think it's probably a Spanish exhibition, because this is just full of brilliant artwork. And there was a Wally Wood one as well. And also John Buscema, Russ Heath, similar sort of book. And this is from IDW. I think, yes it is. Is it IDW? IDW probably says that. Yes, IDW, but it's actually got here a Spanish one as well. You can see La Part de Palma, but it's full of tools. So don't know what that is in there. Probably one of my bits of work. And you've got there, obviously original pages, some more original pages. So you've got everything. You've got Spider. You've got obviously other stories. I Am Not Human. Nickel Metal Master, etc. There, Incredible Hulk number 6, as I mentioned. You've got Spidey again. So there's a lot of the Marvel stuff. Again, the Hulk one, Astonish number 61. Actually, not so far. I was going to say Doctor Strange. There's some Doctor Strange, but you've got original art page of Doctor Strange. And then you, of course, got into the Warren. Brilliant. That was a Warren one, definitely. Must have been. Doesn't say, let's see, doesn't say. Oh, art by Steve Ditko, obviously, but it doesn't say. Oh, 1966, 67, Warren, yeah. Eerie. So you got some eerie work there. Very unusual. It was the I mean, they're brilliant stories, but it was his style did change quite dramatically there, and then again it changed very dramatically again. So you got the whole mix of stuff. Now this was the reason why I went and got those other books, the Hero comics, etc. And because I saw some of the work in here, and this is of course the Charlton work he did in like 70s. And that's quite, and you've got, again, some brilliant artwork there. And again, what's this one, 1978? You can see the style change. And again, Marvel Spot, Daredevil one. So he did some Marvel work later on. Rocketeer, you got this one, Marvel 1984. And then it really does change quite dramatically. You've got here, look at this style, the Creator, I'm a Creator, etc., etc. Package, I've got that one somewhere, 100, maybe something similar to that anyway, one of those ones, I couldn't find it, 160 page package, and the artwork is very odd, and you can see it there. Again, maybe not everyone's cup of tea, but still I think it's quite impressive. Very, very inventive style anyway, very unusual, and it includes a lot of material that it's worth checking out, certainly to get 1 or 2 issues. But this is a brilliant book, absolutely, and it weighs a ton as well. And to finish off, I've got these ones. Now, I've probably picked up volume 2. No, I picked up volume 1. That's a bit of luck. Always the way when you pick up these things, unless you've got them exactly the right order. Marvel Masters of Suspense. I would love to see a volume 3, volume 4, volume 5 of other ones. Don Heck, Bill Everett. There's loads of them, but they could put them all under Suspense. This one, obviously, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. There was volume 2 as well, which I'll quickly show. And this is just full of all the brilliant Ditko, everything, all in order as well. So you've got the list up there. It just says Marvel Tales, etc. And this one was June 1956, and you can see the style all the way through there. And you can see some familiar figures again that he used. Obviously, again, I captured the abominable snowman. Some of them were like only 3 or 4 pages, but they were just brilliant. They told the story very, very concise, brilliantly done. 5 pages, bang, and that was it. But that's just brilliant. I would love to see more of these sorts of things. I don't know if they would ever do that, because of course now you have to have about 6,000 pages for a story, not 5 pages. But still, I thought this was just superb. And it was a great collection. Absolutely lovely to have them all in one place. Because over the years, like the Creepy Worlds magazine or whatever, Out of the Unknown, the UK ones, I've seen lots of these stories. Lots of these turned up in the UK ones. In the annuals and things, you'd often find a Ditko story like this. And they were just great. But look at the panels. Just beautiful. Really worth... I'm surprised no one's brought a book out of the study of Ditko's artwork and how analysing the frames, the panels, the way he times everything, just everything about it. Also the colouring, of course. Now it's modern style colouring, of course, but still, obviously it was originally done with that sort of nighttime scenes with the, obviously the lights there in the background. An unusual style again. And also the dripping of the water there. I just think it's just superb. And now, does it have any extras? I think it has a little bit. There's a little bit of extras at the back. Not much. But yeah, there's a few things. Obviously a few bits of original art pages. Prepared to be thrilled, as it says there. And it includes a lot. You can see the list there. Real quick, if you can, just about make that out. But there's a lot. So you've got Journey to Mystery, Strange Tales, Mystery Tales, etc. And then, and they split it over two. I mean, they could have probably gone for one complete volume because it's only 600. They could have put it in 1,000, but it would have been a bit hefty. But this is volume 2, and the stories again just absolutely sweet. And you can see there all the stories there. You've got Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense, Strange Tales, and they're all in order. So you've got 1961, 61, 62, all the way through 62, 60 all the way up to 63, 63. And the last one is in September 1963, Journey into Mystery, number 96. And of course, you've got, doesn't include the Spider-Mans or anything. So you've got I mean, that's just one of the classic stories. That is just one of my favourite ones. Actually, there's at least 50 or 60 just truly epic. Even if some of them do start to repeat a bit, they're still great ones. Icy Fingers of Fear. But it's still The Mechanical Men, just great. These are just great yarns. And again, they're often 5 pages, 4 pages, 5 pages. The Man Who Lost the World. Classic. All the way through. I don't think there's that many Duff stories. There's a few that you think, oh, that's not particular. Or you might think, oh, that's a bit similar to one that was done about a year or so before. The Ultimate Weapon. And they've even included these as well, which I think is great. The contents. I always love those. Something that's I always enjoyed looking at. The Invaders. And again, this has got some extras at the back. So you go all the way through to the back. And let's see, you got some bonus material there. And that's it. That's a run through of some of my Ditko ones. I haven't got everything here. It's possible that I've missed loads, and afterwards I will find a load more. But which one's my favourite? Well, they're all my favourites. I think this one is probably pretty up there. I just love this one. It's just a great little book. This definitely is worth checking out. But they're all worth checking out if you're into Steve Ditko. And I'm certain I've got missed a number of books that I should have bought that were Steve Ditko ones, but I haven't got them. So if anyone puts a comment saying, why haven't you put this in? The reality is, I probably haven't got it. I haven't got the monster-sized Spider-Man one. There's a Spider-Man Ditko one. Looks amazing. But you just can't buy every single book because otherwise the house would collapse. That's the only thing. So that's it. Steve Ditko. Hope you found this of interest. Bye.